CORSO and Catone.
I think, well, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to?
Presented by Special Sauce Podcast, Studio 42 Design, and CORSO Law Group. Now for the real deal New England feel, CORSO and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe is in the booth, and you're watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, or anywhere you podcast, right, Mark?
Yes, of course.
And make sure you give us a call on our heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. You know the drill. Leave us a message 24/7. Anything's on the table, and I mean anything. Sports related, you gambling degenerates, give us a call about Sunday spread. We're happy to give you locks of the week. And so make sure, 855-313-7287. Got a good one today in our Pats preview. Mark and I are going to break down as the Chicago Bears come into New England for Monday Night Football. We'll break down, have our keys to the game, offensive, defensive, have our game predictions. And hey, it's been gone for a few shows, but stick around because Catone's comments are back. And so you definitely don't want to miss that. And again, for you gambling junkies, degenerates, Sunday spread is going to be in here today. And hey, there may be a little bit of, we may hear from one of you, I'm told, in Sunday spread. So stick around for that. Gentlemen, how are we doing this week?
Terrific. Thank God the Patriots are on Monday night this week, so I actually can watch the game because of damn Verizon. I lost CBS for the week.
Yeah. For those of you who don't, last week we were off. We had recordings, we did it all, but you know what? You couldn't see us. Thank you, Verizon. Thank you to Verizon.
Verizon.
We don't want to give them a cheap plug. Screw them, So
no.
they prevented us from being on. So, guys, what do you say? We ready to break this Chicago game down?
Yeah, let's do this.
So,
Pat's preview right now. $8 p.m. this Monday night, the Chicago Bears come into New England to face the Patriots again. Monday night, Monday Night Football, Mark. Although you know what,
I can't get used to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on Monday nights. Though, can you?
No, it's weird. It is weird. The first time I heard it, I'm like, wait a minute, is it Sunday? Am I having another
I'm still having trouble adjusting.
Yeah, I thought maybe I was having some sort of a.
He is just the worst, Joe Buck. I just can't handle his voice.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's like Costas too.
Nobody's worse than Bob Costas. I almost put my fist through the television listening to that Yankees Guardian series with him.
Well, I don't know if it was due to him or
yeah, maybe not.
Some other things. But getting to the Patriots, that Monday Night Football game, and Mark, before we get to the scouting report here, the breakdown of this thing, this makes me nervous. This game makes me nervous just because of the way everybody's talking about it. It's a foregone conclusion. Roll your helmets out there, and we get the win because Chicago sucks so bad, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. These are the games. These are the games that are like trap games, right?
Yeah. Does it bother you?
It does. What bothers me more is I'm wondering what they're gonna do at quarterback in this game. It's because they're throwing little chips out there about maybe Mac Jones is ready to go, but who knows? Because like you said, Chris, if Zappe goes, you told me during the week, and they win, even if Jones is healthy. Well, now if you're going to make the decision to put him back, it's probably this week because now you got to use Zappe against the Jets. If you win again and it's a blowout.
Yeah, the problem is if the Jets win again this weekend,
they're 5-2,
and Wilson's out. So I don't know if he's out, but they
don't know if he's out. He's banged up, but he might be playing.
So if they win 4 in a row, the Jets, that's a real game now. So
of course
what do you want to do? You want to take Mac Jones and you want to roll them out there for that game? No, you want a tune-up game. If you really think Chicago sucks this bad, then if you're going to make the change, hopefully it's Monday night or it's at the bye. I don't think you can can bring him back to the Jets
which
game.
means Zappe would play this week, next week, and against Indy.
Oh, that's right, because the
bye is after Indy.
That's right. Unless, so I mean now you really got
if you roll the table with Zappe, now how do you make the decision after the bye?
You can't. Listen, you can't take him out.
So it's going to have to probably be Monday night or not or no, you don't you just,
Or we roll. That's it.
Roll.
I mean, at least from a coaching standpoint, I can't imagine you upset the chemistry and flow of the team by doing something like that. I mean, Bledsoe was ready, and Bledsoe was ready to go.
You had to bring that up, right? Had to go back there.
I look forward to the opportunity to compete for my job, he says, right? Back then in 2000. But it's a completely different situation.
It's a completely different situation, but Belichick's mindset, Chris, I don't think has changed from then. If they get on a roll and this team and you leave this kid in a couple of more weeks and he keeps winning, I honestly don't think Belichick will pull him.
No,
it has to be. It has to be this week, Chris. The change has to happen Monday night.
Belichick is operating the same way he did in '95. It's sort of like they carved out a piece of ice and he's in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, positively.
So, okay, so I mean, and the last thing we should say on this is, then Mac Jones understands this. Yeah. And so he's aching to get back on that field.
I would think if he does it, his handlers understand it. And they say to him, listen, even if you're 75%, you better say you feel 100% because you got to get on the field.
Well, then it's, it's on the organization then, because you could this high ankle, people talk about this high ankle sprain, thinking it's an ankle sprain. It's not really. It's basically the tendon, the ligament or whatever above the ankle that rolls up. That's the issue. You can re-aggravate that. You can hurt that worse.
Positively.
If they bring him out. So depending on who you think the future is. So breaking down, I mean, let's start. We're talking about quarterback. Let's start with the offense, Mark. I mean, the Patriots going to be able to run the ball against this team? Break that down.
Well, they should be able to. I mean, Chicago's run defense is one of the worst in the league. So we had mentioned a couple of weeks back about how bad Detroit's run defense was. Well, Chicago's isn't much better. They're at the bottom. They're like 29th, I think, in total run defense, right?
Yep.
So they allow about 160 yards a game. So you should theoretically, Chris, even though Damian Harris isn't going to play, I don't believe he practiced a little bit. Was he?
Full.
You don't know how much he'll give you, but you still got Ramondre Stevenson, and you got the two rookies, the other Harris, Kevin, and Pierre Strong. You should, Chris, be able to run the football this week because let's face it, we won pretty easy last week, but the running game, and I know we didn't get a chance to do a post game last week. The running game, though, Chris, really wasn't. I mean, he broke that one run for 30-something yards in the touchdown, Stevenson, but it really wasn't a dominant running game last week for us. I mean, Zappe played well, but I thought we would have ran the ball much better last week, and we didn't. So the running game, I think, has to step up Monday night.
What was concerning about last week is how bad the Browns are against the run.
And we couldn't run.
You got one of the worst teams in football against the run, and you rush for 70 yards or 75, whatever the hell it was, throwing in there that 31-yarder by Stevenson. So is that a product of the fact that Harris was out too? And it was just Stevenson, or because you're right. I mean, they're the Chicago's just a little bit better, and they're 24th against the yards per attempt at 4.8. So they're a little better there. But yeah, damn, I mean, they're a bad run defense. They just are. And so they're going to have to pick it up, as you said. But I think Damian Harris, I think he'll play. I think he's going to play. I don't know how effective he's going to be, but I think he is going to play this weekend. And by the way, the offensive line, talking about the running game, do you know, okay, this is going to shock you. Do you know that they're ranked? I don't know what organization ranked these, but they're ranked the 4th best offensive line in football. Let me say it again. The fourth best
Yeah.
offensive line.
I think the silence.
Listen. Here's my thing, Chris, with these analytics. You can get in this day and age, you can get these goddamn analytics to prove or show anything you want to try and show and prove. You just got to pick somebody that's got some crazy formula that fits your argument. I mean, I understand they're saying therefore. Me personally, Chris, I'm going to use your favorite line, the eye test. The eye test does not tell me that don't get me wrong, they've played well in spots, but does the eye test tell you, Chris, they're the fourth best offensive line in football? I mean, because I know you always say, but the eye test doesn't tell me that. Do you think they are? With your buddy Win?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. My whole thing is there are parts of that offensive line that are playing really, really well. We're down on Isaiah Wynn. I mean, to me, the pre-snap penalties with him. See, what I think happens is when they're ranking these whatever position they're doing, what's not taken into account, I don't think, of the penalties, because what's hurting this offensive line right now are all the damn penalties, holding
Chris,
calls,
the pre-snap penalties. Last week in the first half, they had a bunch, right?
Yeah, they had like 5 of them, and so that I don't know that that's taken into consideration, but I will say that Owinu, Strange, Andrews, and Brown, they are playing very well, and you can't deny the way New England's been able to rush the ball. The way the amount of yards they got, they're right at the top of the league. So the offensive line is playing well. With Cannon's in there too. So Isaiah Wynn, yeah, he's the weak link in that line, but I think they should be able to run the ball effectively against Chicago, and I think that's teaser alert. I think that's one of the key, maybe one of our keys to the game offensively. So now you talk about the old line, and as far as pass protecting, for either Zappe or either Mac Jones, one of them, they should be able to. Can they throw the ball? I mean, that's one of the things for Chicago they have performed.
No, Chicago is a good secondary. Statistically, they have a good secondary statistically, right? And they got and they got the glue back there is the safety, right? They got the veteran back there, Eddie Jackson, and he's got a couple of picks. He plays well. He's the quarterback back there, right? Mm-hmm. The corners, I've never heard of them. They've got some real unknown corners that I've never heard of, Chris.
Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon.
They're not household names.
No, they certainly aren't. And he's got 3 picks. Your guy there, Eddie Jackson. But yeah,
he's the glue. He's the glue back there, right? But Chris, do you think they can get pressure with Robert Quinn? I mean, I'm assuming they're going to put Quinn on Wynn's side. He's the best pass rusher, isn't he?
He's the pass rusher, but they only have they only had like a 10, 11 sacks as a team.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, but yet they're playing well against the runs. I mean, but they're playing well against the pass, so it's strange. You got no pass rush, but yet statistically,
that's because everybody's running the damn ball against them.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
everybody's running the ball against them. They're getting down in games. I mean, if you look at the Chicago games, a lot of their games this year, and Mark and I are such degenerates. We watch every single damn game over here every week. So nobody sees in front of Mark what is similar to what I got over here, where he's looking at all the games. So Chicago, teams are getting up on them.
Okay.
So they're not. I don't think they're throwing the ball all that much. What I love to see is how many pass attempts against. So I'd like to see how many pass attempts against that secondary, because I'll bet you that's the team. They're high up in the NFL in pass attempts or low or whatever. So yeah, I mean, can they get to him? Can Quinn do something? Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think if Zappe plays, he moves around in the pocket a little better than Mac Jones.
And Chris, I would think if we can run the ball, that the play action should be wide open, right? If you use some play action, if it's Zappe, you roll them out a little bit. I mean, I have to think that type of action will be available to you if you're running the ball as well as I think we think they should tomorrow, Monday night, right?
Right, absolutely. And so, we'll see. If they're running the ball to play action, the only thing I will say about the PA here is that I like Mac Jones so much better in the deep throw. He's better at the deep pass than Zappe is about getting at the Thornton, your guy, who, by the way,
I was just going to say, by the way, he played well last week, Thornton, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, hopefully, you're looking at some of the other receivers that we liked. And hey, look, we're not too proud to admit we're wrong off the bat. Sky Moore isn't doing what we thought he would do.
Nope.
Coming out of the gate. And neither is Pickens.
Well, Pickens, I think they've just had some uncertainty at quarterback. I think Pickens has proven in spots that he can play. I think Sky Moore, Chris, a lot of times coming out of the draft, we thought, oh, he's going to Kansas City. But that Kansas City offense doesn't seem to be a fit for his skill set. I still think he would have been a terrific in our type of an offense. But listen, Thornton, Chris, I think has the potential to really, really do well. I really do. And I had said that when we drafted him. I thought we took him a little too high, but I did like the pick.
That was the case with a lot of picks they made. We liked the player. We didn't like where they did it. Because Cole Strange is proving everybody to be wrong.
He is proving everybody wrong. And Chris, Chicago has a linebacker who fits your mold of a linebacker. Roquan Smith can get from sideline to sideline. He's quick. He's good, Chris, covering tight ends out of the backfield. I don't think they have him blitz much. He's a little bit undersized. Yeah. But man, he can run all over the field, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I think for what New England does, they don't really use their tight ends, anymore like that. And there's not a lot of out of the backfield stuff. You don't have guys like Vereen and Falk and those guys White anymore. So we'll see if he's effective or not. And Mark, on the other side of the ball, this defense is starting to play to where we would hoped. I mean, we had hopes that or question marks in the linebacker position as to, can these draft picks, Uche and Jennings and these guys that they picked up, Bomber, are they going to play to form? We didn't know. Well, so far, I mean, they're again, they're going against some real crap.
Well, I was just going to say that, Chris. Let's. I don't want to fall into the trap of all these local media people. They've played crap the last couple of weeks. Let's face it. You play Detroit and Cleveland, two of the worst organizations in football, right? So you played crap. You're going to play another crap team this week. But listen, there are some real good signs. You're right. Yeah. We're encouraged. We're really encouraged. We think they're showing things that we didn't necessarily know if they could show. As the competition gets a little better, let's see if they can hold up. The guy, Chris, that I think is going to hold up no matter what is Judon is having an unbelievable season.
Yeah, and everybody hitting the brakes on that a little bit too because he had an unbelievable season and then he died. He went off. So it's okay. Yeah. So when the Bears, are we going to have trouble? Because that's been some issue with the front about stopping the run. David Montgomery seems to be their guy, and then you have Herbert.
The other kids, that kid's he's a little more explosive, but
yeah. So what do you say about
they can run the ball. They have a good running game. The Bears. Well, I mean, they can't pass protect so they have to, but they can run the ball, Chris. They're like one of the top. They're in the top 10 in the league running the ball. So, what I'm a little concerned about is I don't know if Guy's going to play this week.
Yeah,
Bondmore was limited
on the list.
Bondmore was limited in practice all week.
Yep.
They got a couple of other guys on the defensive line, defensive tackles, Chris, that are banged up.
Yeah.
So that could become an issue this week. I think we're all right on the edges, but the middle of that line against this running game, I'm hoping that guys like maybe Guy is active or maybe Bondmore plays. I don't know, but the injury situation in the middle of that line has me a little nervous.
Yeah, and so okay, yeah, they're going to have to stop the run. But don't you think, and again, another spoiler alert about a possible key to the game, if you get a lead on this team, if you can get a lead on Chicago, then you're you're helping to nullify. That's like having another weapon in the run defense, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, if you can get the lead, it changes what they're going to do on offense, right?
And don't looking at the numbers. Okay, you say average 170 yards per game. They're second. That's number 2. So you're right. They're in the top 10, but they're actually in the top 5. They're number 2 in the league, averaging 170, 5 and 7th in 5 yards a carry, which is absurd. Montgomery averages 4 yards a carry as the lead back, and the other guy you're talking about, Herbert, more explosive, 6.5 a carry. So they can do it, and they will do it. But
and
here's the
Fields
thing.
can run the RPO too, Chris.
And that's something that you have to take into consideration. They're so good at running the ball. I mean, look, Fields is also, I mean, he's got 280 yards rushing early in the season, 5.5 yards a carry. So, I mean, that factors into the running game, clearly. So when you see a lot of these teams like leading the league and rushing, like Baltimore, this kind of team, you got to take into account the quarterback's doing some of that. So it's incumbent upon the damn offense for New England to get a lead.
Chris, yeah, it is. But Chris, this team though, right? So Fields runs the ball. Okay, but watching tape of this team, he's not running the ball like Jackson's running the ball for Baltimore. Their pass protection is abysmal.
Yeah.
So he's getting a lot of yards running because he's running out of the pocket because he's going to get sacked.
Yeah, not designed runs.
Not designed runs. I mean, there are designed RPOs, don't get me wrong. But their pass protection, Chris, I think is up there with some of the worst in the league.
Yeah. The good thing
and that also could be, Chris, because of what you said a little earlier about the fact that they're always behind. So there's no threat of the run. So teams are just rearing back and coming after him because they know they're throwing the ball.
Yeah, now sometimes teams like Chicago will throw their hands up in the air and basically say, you know what, we can't pass the ball, so we're just going to keep running it. That's all we can do. We're just going to keep running it. And I say, you got the lead, you're fine. Yeah, keep doing that. But one of the encouraging things, too, about our front is how well our edge play has been. Guys like Judon and Jennings and why am I forgetting 91? These guys, they're setting the edge pretty well. Uche, Dietrich Wise. They're doing a great job on the edge. And when you talk about that read option stuff, okay, they play the mesh pretty well. The mesh is the point where the quarterback is holding it into the running back and making the decision to keep it or hand it. That mesh point right there, our front, our defensive ends are playing that pretty well. They have been. So that's a big part taking that away.
Nobody in the league, Chris, plays that mesh point better than Juwan Bentley.
Yeah, you know what? If you notice, I didn't even bother with the middle of the field. I wasn't even. But since you brought it up, since you brought up my buddy Bentley, look, this may be if there's a game this season, because look, they played well against a good rushing team in the Browns last week.
They did. Because Chubb's a good running back.
He's a damn good running back. I mean, they only had 70 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Did Cleveland. So again, if Bentley's going to have a good game, this should be the one. But the problem with him, again, you can't choose gaps. You can't pick. You know what I mean? I'm not so concerned about him getting in throwing lanes this week as I am about him, being able to fill and fit into gaps, to make his defensive front right. So I like McMillan's there. He's been playing pretty well, and Wilson has come.
Wilson's played. I was going to say, Wilson's played better the last couple of weeks, Chris, because there was a time where he had lost playing time. They had him on the bench, but he is getting playing time again. He has played much better the last couple of weeks. And Chicago, Chris, has somebody on offense, and I don't think they utilize him as much as they should. That you really liked coming out of the draft, the tight end, Cole Kmet. Yeah. I know you liked him coming out of the draft. And when he becomes a free agent, I honestly would like New England to go get him because I think he is a good tight end. He's real good. I just don't think they have the offensive skill set to utilize him as a weapon.
He's the only guy. He's the only other guy. And I think Montgomery, I only think there's three guys, Mooney, Kmet, and Montgomery that have double-digit catches this season for them. So, I mean, no, I do like that tight end. And the problem is I just don't think they utilize the tight end well, which is good for us because historically we have trouble defending tight ends. Although I will say Duggar is doing a better job. A part of the reason that is our inside linebackers are not getting in the throwing lanes. That's some of the reason why. But defending that situation, looking at the secondary now, it's funny because coming into the season, much maligned corner, room, right? Cornerback room.
Yep.
Well, it's turning out, isn't it, that they're the strength. They're becoming the strength of the secondary, and the safeties are more the concern. And we didn't think that would be the case, Mark. No.
No, we didn't. We thought the safeties would be the strength of the team, one of the strengths of the defense. And it turned out we were, like you said, Douglas played well, but McCourty looks old. He's late to everything. Jabril Peppers is horrendous. A disaster when they put him out there. But you're right, Chris. The corners all of a sudden have become a strength. You got the rookie Jack Jones, right? Mills, when he's been healthy and on the field, has played well. The other rookie got some playing time last week. Marcus Jones played well in the slot, and I think you're going to see the other Jones, if he's healthy with the ankle, he should be back on the field this week, Chris. I mean, I think the cornerbacks are a pleasant surprise because neither one of us expected that coming into the season. And by the way, your buddy, you called it, Chris. They benched your buddy with making all that money the other day for the Chargers, J.C. Jackson. They benched him.
I told you. I mean, remember I said because San Diego, the Chargers.
It's San Diego.
They play a lot of man coverage. And by the way, New England, if you haven't noticed, has been playing a ton of man, which means Belichick is very, very coming. We thought they'd be a straight zone team coming in this season because we were so concerned about the corners. Well, he clearly has confidence in that rookie class and what he's had on the team, especially when he pushes Miles Bryant out of the lineup. But he's obviously has a lot of confidence in them playing man, which allows for more pressure and more pressure packages to come. But yeah, I mean, we talked about in the offseason, J.C. Jackson. Everybody was pissed off. You don't sign J.C. Jackson. You don't have a lockdown corner. Hey, guess what? J.C. Jackson is not a lockdown corner, is he? He's a zone corner, and he got a lot of. And Belichick said it in one of his press conferences last year that he's like Johnny on the spot, right? Right place, right time, gets a lot of tip ball interceptions, things like that, versus what you saw Jack Jones do last week or 2 weeks ago against Detroit, where we broke that down, where he got put in conflict and he made a good read the quarterback, and his step lateral was so good, his footwork, that he was able to get the pick. They all poo-pooed that play like it was all Goff's fault. But you don't have that with J.C.
And he
Jackson
made a good pick. And he made a good pick, Chris. He made a good read in that Green Bay game. He made that pick for the touchdown, right?
That's right. And he had a strip. So again, corners playing well. As long as they keep Miles Bryant, that's Mark's favorite player, though, isn't it?
Miles Bryant, yeah, but he snuck in there again last week, and he got beat. As soon as they put him on the field, he got beat. Amari Cooper beat him.
He did, and then otherwise, Amari Cooper had a quiet game. But listen, so the corner plays well. They can play a lot of man. We talked about the safeties. I mean, Peppers is having trouble, but Phillips, Mark, talk about Phillips. He just doesn't seem noticeable out there, does he?
No, he had a good couple of early weeks, Chris, but he since the first week or two, and I thought Phillips would have a good season, but I think, Chris, it may be earlier in the year. Remember, he got dinged up in one of those first couple of games.
Yeah,
he could be nursing an injury. He's out there. He's a tough kid. He may not be 100%, but he's a guy that Belichick's going to put out there because he's fighting through. That's just the way he plays. But no, he hasn't been. He hasn't been his typical self, Chris.
Well, look, like I said, if one of the keys to this, and we're going to get to our keys to victory in a second. But again, you got a good pass rush, okay? And against this team, which you should be able to do, Mark, they can't protect him. And he's only thrown the ball. He doesn't throw it more than 20 times a game. He's only thrown the ball 115 times in this season field. So they don't let him drop back enough because they can't protect him.
Nope. They can't protect him. So that may be, and like I said, Chris, is it they can't protect them, or is it because they're always behind? So teams know he's going to throw the ball. I don't know, but you're right.
But again, they don't have a lot of attempts.
No, they don't.
So they're either throwing in the towel and saying, hey, you know what, we're just going to run the ball no matter what, or they just can't protect them. And against our edge and the fact that we can't play man coverage, they should be getting to him all night. And the offense needs to dictate. Our offense needs to dictate how this game is being played by their offense, meaning get a lead, So, and Mark,
Chris, I could see this game playing out very similar to the Detroit game.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, that's what a lot of people think is going to happen, And so Mark, getting to our keys to victory. Offensively, to you, what's the key?
Offensively, Chris, I guess it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I think you're going to have to run the ball. If you run the ball, play action, it's going to open things up. I think if you can run the ball, Chris, there will be Monday night, I will predict, if you can run the ball, Thornton will catch it. Will catch one. He'll catch a deep one. Thornton's going to catch a deep one Monday night if you can run the football, because he's going to break free, and especially if it's Mac Jones, Jones is going to hit him.
To me, for me, it's the coaching style, the play calling. If Mac Jones is playing in this game, okay,
do they keep the same? Do they do what they did with Zappe?
Well, that's the thing, and to me, that's the key to the game offensively. Because if they go back to what they would do with Mac Jones, you weren't comparing apples to apples. So those people who are comparing Zappe to Jones, run the same stuff you were giving Zappe to do with Jones, and then we'll see what happens. To me,
Chris,
that's a huge key.
Chris, it seems like they brought back some of the Josh McDaniels principles to the offense for Zappe, right?
They didn't run zone. They weren't zone blocking. They didn't run that edge stuff, those stretch runs. They didn't do any of that. They did some play action with Zappe.
Even Chris, some of the routes they were running, the pass routes, they didn't run those crisscross routes that they incorporated for Jones.
No, a lot of check down stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of over under reads for him. That are pretty simple reads. So if you give that to Mac Jones to do, one, you get his confidence back, and two, because he's thrown 5 picks.
Yeah, he threw
already.
He threw a lot of picks.
So because he's going to press, he's going to be pressing to do well if he gets in this game. So the play calling is going to be proper for him. And then I think, that's a key to me. And defensively, Mark, what do you have?
Defensively, Chris, the center of the line is going to have to stop the run. You hope you're healthy enough to stop the run. If we stop the run, our edges will take care, and we'll get 4 or 5 sacks, I think, on Fields Monday night, because I think our edges will collapse on him. That's my key. My key is, can our middle of the line be healthy enough to stop the running game?
Yeah, listen, and similarly, okay, I think it goes on to the back end, where if we can continue to get good corner play, we'll have good front play with our edges, and we can get to this kid, because I have a feeling they're going to be playing from behind is Chicago. So I think the corner play and the secondary play to allow for a pass rush is going to be important. So, Mark, what's your prediction? What do you think is going to happen? Final score?
31-13 Patriots.
Yeah. So they're giving 8. They're giving 8.
I think they're going to cover.
Okay. And you also think that it'll go over at 40.
Yeah, because I think the Patriots are going to, I'm assuming Chicago will score 10 or 13, but yeah, I think the Patriots are going to score in the 30s.
Okay. See, I got it going under.
All right.
I have it under, which is weird, because I like the Patriots and under, which is an odd thing with that many points.
Yep.
Just because I don't think Chicago is going to be able to score. So we'll see what happens. Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern kick. I think an 8:15,
8:20
goes on.
Yeah.
If you all out there are able to watch it in New England, I think it 8:15 kickoff. So this Pats preview was presented by Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Hey, when we come back, buckle up, everyone. CATONE'S Comments is back.
It's the Special Sauce Podcast. You liking the sauce? The sauce is good, man.
Easy start off is finance. Train them, trust them, and let them lead.
With your host, Marcus Arias. Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast, wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Time for CATONE'S Comments!
Listen, I know it's football season, and Chris and I are football junkies. I know we're football junkies. Well, listen, it's the ALCS, and the Yankees are in the ALCS. We have to talk a little bit of baseball. Come on, Chris. Jesus.
For now.
Right?
For now.
Listen, come on. Now, let's talk Yankees. Please, let's talk Yankees. Or maybe we shouldn't talk Yankees. All season long, Chris kept saying, I don't want to play Houston. I don't want to play Houston. Well, guess what? We got Houston, didn't we? Watching the Guardian series and then watching this series, the first two games anyways, couple of real quick observations. Number one, the way this goddamn team is constructed, I talked about it back in goddamn March. It's October, it's almost Halloween, and it's coming back to bite them in the ass now when it means something. They're batting under 200. Their team batting average, I think, Thursday night when I was 163 through the Guardian series and the Houston series for the playoffs. 163, which means what? You're not putting the ball in play. You can't play small ball because you're looking for a 2-run homer and a 3-run homer. Well, guess what? In the playoffs, jackasses, that's not going to happen because you're facing good pitching. Brian Cashman needs to be fired. I don't give a shit what happens. He needs to be fired. This team needs to be constructed differently. The son upstairs drooling on himself, Steinbrenner's son, he's got drool coming off his chin watching the games. Does he not see the fact that this team needs to be constructed differently? Then you got that complete moron sitting in the dugout. Yo, why don't you bring Clark Schmidt out again? I could bring somebody out in a goddamn wheelchair that could throw the ball better than Clark Schmidt. And you keep bringing them out. Bring them out some more. Bring them out. Why not? Bang, home run. What doesn't Boone understand? You can't watch what's happening and you keep bringing. I understand there's injuries in the bullpen. I get it. You haven't used Domingo Germán. You haven't used Germán the whole playoffs. You mean to tell me he can't give you an inning or two out of the bullpen? They finally brought the other kid in, Castro, the other night. He gave you a perfect inning. Why can't you use him? I don't understand how he's managing the bullpen. I understand they got injuries in the bullpen, but you still have guys that you're not utilizing. And he sits there and he does the same garbage every series. Now you're down 2-0. So you got two must-win games today, and you got a must-win game tomorrow night. And if you don't win both games, series is over. You got to tie the series up at 2-2. I still watching the first two games. I do not believe you can win a game in Houston. I just don't believe we can. So I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I predict them to win the World Series. I don't think we can get by this series because I don't think we can win a game there. That's my opinion. Lastly, the broadcast teams that they put together for these games, that Guardian series, Bob Costas and Ron Darling. Where the hell Bob Costas is they need to stuff him like a stuffed animal and put him on a shelf in the archives so people can go visit him. Are you kidding me? Bob Costas? It got so bad. I'm going to tell you, it got so bad. I turned it off. I watched the TV. I put John Sterling on. I put on the radio when I was listening to John Sterling. John Sterling doesn't even know his name anymore. He must have referred to Cleveland as the Indians 25 times. One game. The Indians ground ball. What a game the Indians are playing. I don't care. I'll listen to John Sterling. Even though he can't remember half his name before Bob Costas. That's how bad the broadcasting team was that they put MLB put out there. That's all I got.
Joe, is it me or in our production meeting did Mark tell us, look, I'm not gonna get that upset.
I'm not gonna.
So it's gone.
That's all fans have missed. I've missed seeing that.
Oh man, I miss it so much.
Comments. It heats it up. I love it.
It's awesome. Mark, you're right. Look, well, I mean, the Costas thing is just, I mean, I didn't like him when he came out of Syracuse, in the broadcast, but he wasn't bad when he first began, but he's gotten so arrogant. Same thing with Joe Buck, Joe, that you mentioned earlier. But they were lucky to get out of that Cleveland series first.
Oh, absolutely they were.
Okay. I mean, and to me, this Houston series was lost. Look at his. He's grabbing his stomach, Joe. He's having trouble now over here. Calm down, Mark. Calm
Well, look at
down.
what you're doing to your fans.
Remember your New Year's resolution.
Hey, that's gone. It's October. That's gone.
Gone the day after.
Christ.
Mark, they lost this
The over
series.
on that, Chris, when he was going to lose it.
I had it about 2 days.
2 days.
So-
October lasted. I love it.
Yeah. So they lost this series in game 2, Mark, because you're not beating Verlander. And they're gonna run him out again.
Mhm.
And so if you can't win in Houston, you can't beat Verlander, it's over. And guess what? Guess what this is shaping up to be was my prediction for the World Series champ, is it not?
Well, yeah,
Because Houston's going to beat either one of those teams.
because
over
the
there.
Dodgers lost,
Right.
Atlanta lost, right?
Mets
The
lost.
The teams that probably would have beat Houston all got knocked out.
And not to upset you further, but now you're in a situation, right, where do you pay Judge? Do you pay him? Because look, I know all you New York fans out there. I know all you New York fans out there in New England, which is a ton, are going to say, "Got to pay Judge. What the freak? Got to pay Judge." Why? Because why? So he can break the home run record during the season, which we all see that. Well, for the American League, the home field that matters with Houston, right? But you're going to hit all those home runs, you're going to score all those runs, and you're going to get in the playoffs, and it's going to be exactly what you predicted, Mark, which was the bats go cold, and Moron in the dugout doesn't handle his pitching staff right, and now here we are. So do you pay him?
Or do you use the 250, 300 million and construct your team in different ways? Yeah.
In all
Yep.
pieces. Well, so what do you think?
No, I did call the fact that he was going to be in this position at the end of the season, Judge, and I will predict this. If he has one game that clutches something in the fact that he hits a home run and gets them through, possibly they will have to pay him. 100%.
All right. Okay, so we're gonna have to watch for that, Chris.
Better be today.
If Judge wins a game for them and they pull the series out, do they pay him?
Yeah, I mean, he's bounced back a little bit. I mean,
well, the other night, Chris, they claim if the roof was closed, that ball to right field would have been a 2-run homer and you would have won the game. I don't know if. That's what I said. If. Yeah, okay, if. The ball wasn't barreled up. You hit that ball wasn't on the sweet part of the bat. So I don't know if that even would have went out if the roof was closed. He didn't hit it. He didn't hit it square.
When you have to start going that deep into analyzing.
Listen, that was
No
Boone.
problem.
That's Boone. Boone makes that comment in his press conference. What manager says that? That's when you know Boone's desperate because Boone knows, Chris, if they lose, he's gone. There's no way you can trot that guy back out there again next year. You even can hear the players. Like there's a little bit of dissension among the players talking about some of the moves he's been making.
Well, let's see what happens with the rest of the series. I fear that we were right and we continue to be right. And I'm so disgusted with myself that I'm probably going to be right.
You're gonna end up being right.
Oh God, the one time I wanted to be wrong. So good stuff, Mark. CATONE'S Comments was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CORSOLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Hey, when we come back, step up to the sports book, get to the windows, get all your cash ready because Sunday Spread is next.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. CORSO Law Group.
Back in with more CORSO and Catone, the real deal New England feel. And hey, listen, like I said, step up to the sports book. Mark, this is so exciting. I mean, you know why? Because it just comes natural to us, doesn't it?
Hey, please.
You
were betting on how fast your brother was going to finish his baby bottle, for Christ's sake.
Mark was rolling change. Mark had one of those round things. He was like throw the change in, the pennies and everything, and it's coming into the, so that we can pay the fig on that. Well, anyway, listen, we got our locks, we got the spread, We're going to talk that. Sunday spread, Joe, let's have it. What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Feel. It's going to be real.
Listen,
damn
one
right
of,
we
one
are
of,
real.
one of
Mark.
listen, one of these shows, I'm going to tell them the story about the night the guy missed 4 field goals in Cleveland.
Oh.
And this is the old days. This is before cell phones. I lost my connection to him because he busted the phone. The phone went through the television, but that's a whole other issue. But I got to tell them the story. One of these Saturdays, I'm going to tell them the story of that day.
Yeah, tell them the Monday night story, the Monday Night Football story with Joe Montana with Kansas City. When he was in Kansas City and he threw that little out to the pylon, and completely we were trying to come back in that game. Oh, man. So listen. We got some games this week we want to break down. Mark, I'll start with you. I know usually we come up with a couple of games. There's a lot of stuff I was looking at, but we usually come up with a couple of games. And I know that you talked about Vegas this week, huh?
I like Vegas, Chris. I think Vegas finally is going to blow somebody out because I think Houston is terrible. I think Vegas is 7-point favorite, 6.5, 7 points. I think they're giving 7. I think Vegas this week is finally going to get whatever you want to call it, healthy, whatever you want to call it. They're going to take their wounds out on Houston. And I think McDaniels is going to finally blow somebody out, and that offense will come together. And they'll look like the team that people thought they were going to be. I still don't think they're going to be a threat to make the playoffs, but I think they're going to blow Houston out. And I also, Chris, think, there's a couple other games I'll talk about, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at right now, I'm trying to find, for some reason, I can't find that damn Vegas spread because I want to, we want to make sure that everybody getting the updated line. It looks like it's a 6.5 point spread that they've given up to Houston.
7. Yep.
I looked at that game too, and when you look at the season with Houston, teams have not. I mean, they're always underdogs, and teams have had trouble covering against them. Kind of like Atlanta.
Atlanta's another one of those teams. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my sleepers this week. Atlanta's getting 6.5 points against Cincinnati, and I think that trend's going to continue with them. So take a look out there for the Atlanta game. For me, one of my games, and we'll give the locks in a minute, but the Jets-Denver game, that's a 1 point spread. Okay, so Denver's looks like they're favored. Looks like they're favored by 1. So it's 1.5 now. Okay, Denver's actually getting 1.5. So that 1 point, everybody was burying the Jets, right? Giving up that. Everybody was burying Denver, and so that spread went up to a 1.5. To me, I think you got to take Denver in this game. I really do. Now, I say that, and let's all pay attention tomorrow morning to who's inactive, because if Russell Wilson doesn't play, and Mark, maybe that's even better, isn't it?
It might be because he hasn't played well. It doesn't seem like he can get in sync with that team for whatever reason that may be. I don't know.
So listen, so I like Denver in that game. They're getting points, and believe it or not, I like the under. The over is 38.5. I like the under. If you're thinking about a small little parlay or something like that, perhaps that can happen. And so, I mean, those are our, and Joe keeps messaging me. What are you saying over here, Joe? What do we have?
We have a little heated hotline surprise.
Oh.
Well, let's play it.
Let's play it then. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Play it.
You're slow today, Joe.
I got to wash it.
Hey guys, it's Chris from Providence. Listen, I got my brains beat in last week and need to get a good parlay to come back. Help me out. Love the show. Keep doing great, guys.
So, Chris in Providence, thank you for the call. Thank you for the message. Hey, it's short, it's sweet. It sounds like stuff that we've always dealt with in our history. He got his brains beat in last week, Mark.
That sounds familiar.
Hey, Chris, you must not have been listening to. Well, you know what? Verizon didn't allow for you to listen to us and what our picks
you
were
know what?
last week.
You know what?
So, Mark, he wants a parlay.
Well, I got a parlay for him.
What do you think?
My lock of the week is Dallas. Dallas, I think, is going to absolutely blow. They're going to win big this week because they kind of embarrassed themselves on Sunday Night Football last week.
They're giving up 6.5.
They're giving 6.5
with an over under of 49.
Yeah, they're giving 6.5 to they're giving 6.5 to Detroit, and we saw Detroit play us, and I think Detroit's going to get absolutely smacked around again because Dallas's defense has been playing well. I think that Goff Goff is going to lay an egg, and so I like Dallas.
Dak Prescott's going to play, isn't he?
That's the rumor. He's going to play. We'll see tomorrow morning if he's active. I like Dallas to blow them out, and like I said, I like Vegas. So Chris and Providence, Dallas, Vegas. Parlay, and maybe, just maybe, you won't get your brains beaten again tomorrow.
Let's hope you don't get your brains beaten.
And you already gave out your parlay, Chris.
Well, Mark, the 6.5 matters too in that Dallas game.
It does matter.
Now it goes 07 or over.
It does matter. If you can get him, do it tonight, Chris.
Yeah, take it now, Chris, because if that thing goes up to 7.
Yeah, that's a big. That's a big half point.
That's a huge difference. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mark. I mean, to me, if you want to go Denver and the under, because now you're getting points and you're getting the under, so you got the home dog there. That may be something. Neither team scores a lot of points, and a couple of sleepers. Colts and Tennessee. The Colts are giving up 2.5. Oh, I'm sorry, Tennessee's giving up 2.5 to the Colts. I actually like the Colts in this game. Tennessee does nothing for me, nothing at all. So you want to put
that's a little bit of bias there. You just can't stand Vrabel.
Yeah, well, they don't do anything for me, but I'll tell you, you want to put my lock of the week with something? Kansas City, okay? Mark, tell me, how the hell is this line 1 point?
I was looking at that. Are they why? Because San Francisco picked up McCaffrey? I mean, how much is he going to contribute this week? I don't.
What do you do? Put Deebo Samuel on the bench and put him in?
Listen, San Francisco's entire defensive line, Chris, I think, is out. They got like 3 or 4 guys, starters on the defensive line. They're all out. So Mahomes should have a field day coming off that Denver loss. That may be your lock of the week. Everybody's lock of the week, given what? Something's not right there. Whenever something like that shows up, that's always scared me because I'm saying to myself, what do they know that you and I don't know? Why is that 1?
They're wrong on this. Mark,
right?
We've been following this for over 30 years, this stuff.
Yeah.
And this line was 2.
Yeah, I don't.
It dropped to 1, which means everybody was taking San Fran.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. My sleeper this week, Chris, I don't understand how they're getting points. The Giants are getting 3 from Jacksonville. I understand Jacksonville's won a couple of games at home, but they've beaten nobody. Absolutely nobody. I don't know how. I don't know how. And granted, I'm not a Giants fan. I hate them. However,
it's 1.5 against Seattle.
No, Jacksonville's playing the Giants.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I apologize.
The Giants are getting 3.
What Jacksonville's
did I say? Seattle. I don't know. Your mind. You don't even know where you are anymore. Listen, he's giving out parlays. He don't even know who's playing Joe.
It's the only thing I said wrong today. My God, Mr. Redface over here. Go ahead.
Listen, I like.
Yeah, it's a 3-point spread.
I like the Giants getting 3. That's my sleeper. I don't understand how Jacksonville shouldn't be favored over your secondary. You coach. They shouldn't be. Your JV team should be favored over the Jacksonville.
So listen, Chris, out there, put them together. Put the Giants with Kansas City. You know what? And you're out to dinner on Sunday night, having a good old time. Nice job saying, hey, Corso and Catone. You're a listener for life, Chris. So we appreciate the call. Thank you. And Mark, we already picked the New England game, but let's just go back to that for 1 second. Lastly, and for those of you out there who don't know, Mark and I never ever bet the Patriots in our history of degenerate gambling. Okay. I don't think either one of us have ever touched the Patriots.
No, and we could have made money, a lot of money when they were on their roll, but we never did.
No. And so, and even before that, when they sucked, when they were getting points every week. But it's an 8-point spread. New England's given up 8. Does it bother you that it's not pushed over 7? I mean, your pick says that
no, because I don't. I think the Bears they're a team that's in this. No, it doesn't. The Bears are another one of those organizations that are just clueless.
So you see 30 plus coming out of New England.
I do. I really do.
And they'll hit. And you think, what do you, you see, to me, I think
the over and under may be
40.
A risky proposition because you don't know how many points they're going to score. But I'm giving the fact I'm thinking they're going to score about 13 to 17 points, 17 points, maybe Chicago. I'm thinking 31-13, 31-14, and that'll get you over.
And that spread hasn't moved, by the way. That's been 8-40 because nobody cares. Nobody's looking at how many people you think are watching. Well, it's Monday Night Football, so Monday Night Football. So I wonder what the ratings will be for that game. I mean, it'll be all New England fans watching that game. But you know what? 8 points to me, I think they cover as well. But again, it's one of those rare occasions where I take the favorite and the under.
And the under, yeah.
Just because I don't think Chicago scores more than 6-9 points, field goal situation.
Sure.
So I don't think they get to the over because of that, unless there's a garbage touchdown late in the game. So that's our Sunday spread, and that was presented by the Pats Nation, the only Patriots post-game show worth watching. Join Mark and I for most games, pretty much all games. Every week. You didn't join us last week because of the technical difficulties, but 30 minutes following the Patriots games.
We won't be on Monday night. It'll be too late.
That's a no. I was going to get to that. But since Mark brought it up, we won't be on Monday night. The way we look at night games, so we're like you. We're the real deal New England feel. How many of you out there are listening or want to listen or want to hear two idiots like us or forget us. We're pretty good. The morons, the real morons, droning on and on and on about shit they don't even understand.
At midnight.
At midnight. So, hey, listen, we feel for you out there, so we're not going to bother you with a post-game show this Monday. But we will be back, and don't forget to tune back in next Sunday as the Patriots host the New York Jets. Yes, is it host or go on the road, Mark? I believe
we're on the road.
So, yes, we are. So, Patriots go to the Jets and take on the Jets, and that'll be a 1 p.m. Eastern start, and we'll be 30 minutes following that game. The Pats Nation, the only Patriots post-game show worth watching. And come back next week for Corso and Catone. Listen, we're going to have our Jets preview, and that's always a big game. So Mark and I will break that game down, as always, have our picks. And, hey, maybe there'll be another Catone's Comments tossed in there, and one of your heated hotline, 855-313-PATS. Give us a call. And if it's Sunday spread, hey, Chris, if we made a lot of money for you, people, get on board. Give us a call. Come back. Watch the shows all week. It's there. It's up for you. Subscribe, tune in, thumbs up, all those things. Follow us, right, Joe? All that crap that they could do. And anything you want to bring to the table, we'll be ready for it. We are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next Saturday.